Welcome into the Cowboys Report, presented today by RexMD. We'll tell you all about them later on in today's show, but you can get their best deal they've ever offered, up to 90% off. Only pay $2 per dosage at rexmd.com/chat. It's a trade rumors-focused show. One of them maybe rumors in air quotes. We'll talk about Devin White. He once traded from the Bucs. Many of you have asked. I promised you we'd do a video on it. That'll be the majority of today's story. The Derrick Henry trade rumors, emphasis on the air quotes there because some of it's just clickbait out there, man. We'll break down what's really going on there. But first, we might be going to sub-only subscribers here at the Cowboys Report. Not just sub-only chat, but make the videos subscriber only because there are trolls, it's annoying, whatever. The bosses are saying we have until April 27th, the start of the NFL draft, to get to 154.5K in subs, so 440 more. So if you don't want us to go to subscriber only, then subscribe. And if you want to make sure you still get all of our videos, hit that sub button, all for free right here on the Cowboys Report. So let's dive into the latest then on Devin White. The Bucs linebacker has requested a trade from Tampa. The team says they don't want to trade him, that they want to keep him on the roster. And Dallas does make a little bit of sense, right? They have Leighton Van Der Esch on a pretty cheap deal, but beyond him, there's a lack of proven talent impact. Upside with Damone Clark, even Devin Harper, Jabril Cox too, so I'm not out on those guys. But many of you have asked, Devin White, trade, should the Cowboys go get him? I got a lot of DMs, comments, all of it. Makes sense, right? He's a hyped player. Everyone knows Devin White, former top 5 pick, great athlete, and had that fantastic playoff run for Tampa not that long ago. He very much is a name brand in terms of the linebacker position. However, as we'll get into here in depth momentarily, there are some very real issues with Devin White. Not just the significant contract he's making right now, what he could make this upcoming new deal he wants desperately to get, but also just straight up how good the player is. I'll break down all of that here in a little bit. But first, I want to hear from you guys. Do you want to trade for Devin White? Y for yes, N for no. This is going to be today's pinned comment. So if an ad break happens to come here on the YouTube side of things, cool. Ignore the ad. Doesn't really matter what it is. And go vote. Y for yes, N for no. You can change your mind after you hear my thoughts, by the way. But if the ad break comes, take advantage. Go vote right now. I have said this before, and I stand by it. I think Devin White is one of the more overrated players in the NFL because he does do some things really great, right? He is a fantastic athlete. There's great speed. If anyone, we'll say this line a lot, if anyone can make Devin White great again, probably Dan Quinn. He does make splash plays. There are sacks. There are TFLs. There are nice, big, jarring hits. But the level of hype where Devin White, I think, is generally viewed as like, well, he's one of the best linebackers in the NFL, right? He's not. The consistency is not there for Devin White. And I think that the name brand, the athletic ability, has not matched up with just the straight level of play that we've seen before. Now, he can blitz, make no mistake, although you have guys that do that already. So he's not Micah Parsons. Let's not pretend that's a real comparison there. He's not great in coverage. 76.7% completion rate allowed, 2 touchdowns, only 5 pass breakups, 400-plus yards. Maybe a little bit better in that area this past year. But despite all of that speed, all of that athletic ability, he misses a lot of tackles. I've got PFF's missed tackle numbers up there. Pro Football Reference in general has far fewer missed tackles across the board. Either way you splice it, this is a top 10 missed tackle player at linebacker. And if you just use PFRs, it's in top 15 among all players. So depending on which metric you want to use, he misses a lot of tackles. So overrun plays, the instincts are still a little bit raw there. He's not been this elite level linebacker that is worth the contract, which we will get to here in a little bit. But if you sometimes lack some confidence in the bedroom, you've had those nights where maybe you had a few too many to drink or you're just a little bit nervous, whatever. There's nothing worse than not being able to put the stick shift in drive when you need it to the most. Have no fear. RexMD is here to spread some cheer, even if you had a few too many beers. They are FDA approved and the most trusted leader in men's telehealth. They have sponsored today's Cow Report to help you always be prepared. RexMD has made it simple, easy, and cost-effective to help all the men out there last longer and feel more confident in the bedroom. RexMD makes getting generic and branded Viagra or Cialis easy. Everything's online, even the prescription. They deliver it discreetly to your door. There's no waiting rooms, no embarrassing trips to the doctor, no insurance, and no copays. So take advantage of the best deal they've ever offered and take up to 90% off and only pay $2 per dosage with our exclusive link. Go to rexmd.com/chat for this limited time deal. Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available to get started. That's rexmd.com/chat. Save up to 90% off. Let's go back to Devin White here. The contract is a really big issue. The player himself still has value, right? I'm not saying he's like, late-stage career Jalen Smith or anything. But for what you would have to pay him, that's going to raise some big-time red flags. He's due $11.7 million in the final year of his deal this year. That's a lot of money. Cowboys have the cap space, but that would be more than what they're paying most guys on this roster this year. It'd be one of your highest cap hits. And more importantly, he wants a new contract. And I would guess, given who Devin White is, the draft capital, the name brand, the lack of progress in the contracts talks, I'm betting that Devin White is probably looking at the Tremaine Edmunds deal and saying, I deserve more than that. I should be getting $16+ million per year. I should be getting 18, 19, 20 million. I'm not paying him that. Now, if he wants to do like a much cheaper contract, sure, but is he going to take less than what Bobby O got this year from the Giants? Don't think that's what his camp is thinking. In the end, from a trade perspective, too, of course, the Bucs are not going to cut him. That makes no financial sense for them. I think the best they get is a third. And if the Bucs want to eat some of that contract, I got some more interest. I would be very surprised if that's the route they chose to go, again, because of the name brand involved with Devin White. So what is the most you would move in a hypothetical trade for Devin White? Are you giving up the third? Do you want to, have I swayed you to not have as much interest there? Sound off in the comments section for me right now. Let's pivot again to Derrick Henry, as ESPN kind of linked. It was not like an actual report or anything. Derrick Henry and the Cowboys, and that has led to just some reckless, out-of-context headlines. And in the end, this is a bad game of telephone. It's like, we'll break down what actually was said by Bill Barnwell and how that has apparently morphed into Derrick Henry trade to the Cowboys as the real headlines out there. It's not what's being said or predicted, frankly. The initial article was how ESPN could fix the running back room, and the next move was actually about bringing back Ezekiel Elliott. That's what was actually suggested. Here's what Bill Barnwell wrote. What could be next? It's Elliott's return. Reunion could be in the cards. Doesn't find what he's looking for in the open market. Blah, blah, blah. Narrowed his teams down to the Bengals, Eagles, Jets. Those teams aren't interested. Then it became this. If it's not Elliott, the Cowboys look towards a market that still includes Leonard Fournette, Latavius Murray, Kareem Hunt unsigned. There's also a chance that expensive veterans such as Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook could be released after the draft. That is not a report saying the Cowboys want to trade for Derrick Henry. That's not what is actually being said here. That's like, all right, we're trying to replace Zeke. Here's a list of potential replacement candidates. That's all it is. It's not ESPN saying we're going to make that just not. No. So we'll go more in depth here on Henry, and frankly, why I'm actually not that interested in him, especially in terms of the trade. But what's the percent chance he actually gets cut or traded? Abby, our Titans host, you're thinking, what? She's just shaking her head at me now. I agree. So sound off for me in the comment section right now. Again, I don't think the Titans cut or trade him. Now, he's got 1 year left on his deal, and I've seen what if he gets cut? Could the Cowboys, sure, okay, we can have the conversation if that ends up happening, but we should probably have some in-depth conversations about Derrick Henry, the player, in that case, because he's still really good. His numbers dipped. And we're talking about a massive workload with 350 carries. And I think the reason why Henry's numbers dipped is the offensive line wasn't nearly as good in Tennessee this past year. It was, frankly, a bit of a dumpster fire from that standpoint there. And that's my point about running backs. why would I want to pay Derrick Henry and Tony Pollard big money? Derrick Henry is owed $11 million this year. Even if he gets cut, isn't he going to be looking for something more along the lines of 7, 8, 9, if not $10 million per year? That's what he's making right now. He's one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL, with franchise tag guys are all top 10 because that's how the market works these days. Do you want to pay a running back room $20+ million? The answer is an absolute no from me. I have no interest in, because I've already paid Tony Pollard, unless Derrick Henry signing on the cheap, I have no interest. So I wanted to emphasize it again because I've seen the stories from major outlets. My boys at Pro Football Network were the latest, unfortunately, to draw my ire, but it's just not what ESPN reported. So I get that it's a pipe dream mailbag conversation. It's not a real rumor or news piece, though.